Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, and we got a good show tonight. My guest I was supposed to have tonight rescheduled. He will be on next Friday night. I got a guest going to come on from all the way from Ireland and is going to talk some paranormal and some of the books he wrote. Before we get into that, Mother's Day, May 9th. Thank you, everybody who bought tickets. There is still some tickets left, and sales will end on the 8th of May. So get your last-minute tickets in. I saw the payment ones are all sold out. So we thank you all for purchasing tickets and coming to investigate with us and show your support for us. Shortly after that, we will be at Bordertown Paracon in August 8th. My dad and I are presenters this year at Bordertown Paracon. They do not charge admission to get in, so free admission. So come on out. They put on a good Paracon. Show your support. And I'm also going to be on the ghost panel this year, so come on out, show your support. And then after that, we will be at Crypticon, Kansas City, headlining the paranormal portion of Crypticon. You can come out there and see us speak, check out our table. We'll have merch, equipment for sale, figurines that my cousin Kathy's doing. And then after that, we will be in Kentucky at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. My buddy Ken 10 Paranormal puts this on. We will be out there. My dad and I will be out there guest speaking this year. So come on out and check it out. Aaron G. Thompson from 28 Days Haunted is headlining it this year. And there's a whole array of speakers that are going to be out there and teams. My good friends Outlaw Paranormal, the Wenda Brothers, Jen Jacobs, Teps Investigates, Josh Morris. He's hosting it this year, 202 Podcast. Rachel DeMarco and several others will be out there. So come on out, check it out. And then in October, we will be at Rock Island Paracon again this year. So mark your calendars for that. As soon as I got a flyer, I'll be putting that out too. We'll be out there this year. Before we get into the show, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Hey, Gary, welcome in. Good to see you. Hey, Barbara, welcome in. Carol, welcome in. And all 17 of you that are watching right now. So tonight's show, we got an interesting topic tonight we're going to talk about. And the first one we're going to talk about is called the Philip experiment that they did back in 1972. Trenchcoat guy, I don't know what you're trying to do, but if you're going to post that in here, you're not welcome here. So this is an educational podcast, not for your typical being a troll. So you can exit the room now, or I will just kick you out, plain and simple. So I'm not here for you. I'm here for these viewers that want to be educated and learn. So as a matter of fact, you're gone. So where was I? Tonight, we're going to talk about the Philip experiment that was performed in 1972. The Philip experiment was a 1972 parapsychology experiment conducted in Toronto, Ontario, to determine whether subjects can communicate with fictionalized ghosts through expectations of human will. The experiment was conducted by a Toronto Parapsychological Research Society led by mathematical geneticist Dr. A.R. George Owen and overseen by psychologist Dr. Joel Witten. The test group consisted of Owen's wife, Irish Owen, former chairperson of Mensa in Canada, Margaret Sparrow, industrial designer Lorne Henwood, his wife, Andy, heating engineer A.L. Peacock, accountant Bernice M. Bookkeeper, Dorothy O'Donnell, and Scientology student Sidney Kay. Their goals were to create a fictional character through a purposeful methodology and then attempt to communicate with it through a seance. The character created and agreed upon the name was Philip Aylesford, referred to as Philip during the test. His fictional history partially coincided with actual events and places, but with multiple contradictions and errors. He was born in 1624 in England, had an early military career, and was knighted by the age of 16. He was involved in the English Civil War and became personal friends with Charles II. Working for him as a spy, Philip was unhappily married to a woman named Dorotha and later fell in love with a Romani girl who was accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. In despair, Philip committed suicide in 1664 at the age of 30. The group was seated around a table with initial seances yielding no contact, no communication, and no phenomenon. Owen changed test conditions by dimming lights and changing the environment to mimic that of a more traditional seance. Participants began feeling a presence, table vibrations, breezes, unexplained echoes, and rapping sounds, which matched responses to questions about Philip's life. At one point, the table tilted on a single leg and at other times moved across the room without human contact. Although audio, video, witnesses' accounts document paranormal phenomenon, Philip never appeared to the participants. The criticism of this experiment, the experiment has been criticized for lacking solid controls and providing ambitious results due to the reliability of seances. Repeated tests, which created fictional characters named Lilith and Humphrey, yielded similar results under similar circumstances and were deemed inconclusive. In popular culture, the experiment loosely inspired the horror films The Apparition, which released in 2012, and The Quiet Ones that released in 2014. The Philip experiment is mentioned in the novel King Sorrow by author Joe Hill and The Last Days of Jack Sparks by Jason Arnott. So that's a little bit about that. Hey, Amber, welcome in. Hey, Jimmy, what's up, brother? Yeah, I'm doing all right, brother. Staying busy. So that's a little bit about the Phillips experiment. So that's conducted through seances. So, hey, Val, welcome in. So with seances, many people have done them, and sometimes they come out good. Other times, as you see, like this experiment failed. And then some of them actually come out a little different. Hey, Tracy, welcome in. But with these experiments, I mean, what's the saying is they're not making it up, but you can also plant that seed in somebody's mind like they just did there. Hey, Jeanette, welcome in. So you never know if, and they're feeling vibrations at the table, and you notice how things change when you dim the lights, which creates more of that mindset of that darker feeling. And that's why, if you notice, like us paranormal investigators, we work in the darkness because darkness helps our mind's eye see what you can't see in the daylight, whether it be your shadow figures, your full bodied apparitions, because they're made up of light, so light passes through them. So what's not saying is that these people aren't faking this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they made a lot of criticism of it, lacking solid controls and providing ambitious results due to unreliability of the seances. And I mean, they're taking just regular, ordinary people and throwing them into a seance and doing that. And they had no contact, no communication, or no phenomenon. And then as soon as he dimmed the lights, there it went. It started creating more of an atmosphere for it, where it was bringing something on. Our next one we're going to talk about is remote viewing, which many, if you have the psychic abilities, you know what this is for remote viewing. A lot of psychics help people out through pictures, emails, a lot of doing remote viewings in people's homes with the third eye and the psychic abilities. Remote viewing is of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen subject, purportedly sensing with mind. There is no scientific evidence that remote viewing exists, and the topic of remote viewing is generally regarded as pseudoscience. A remote viewer is expected to give information about an object, an event, a person, or location hidden from physical view and separated at some distance. Physicists Russell Terrig and Harold Puthoff, parapsychology researchers at Stanford Research Institute, are generally credited with coining the term remote viewing to distinguish it from the closely related concept of clairvoyance. According to Terrig, the term was first suggested by Ingo Swann in December of 1971 during an experiment at the American Society for Psychical Research in New York City. Remote viewing experiments have historically lacked proper controls and repeatability. The idea of remote viewing received renewed attention in the 1990s upon the disclassification of documents related to the Stargate project, that a $20 million research program sponsored by the U.S. government that attempted to determine potential military applications from psychic phenomenon. A program ran from 75 to 95 and ended after evaluators concluded that remote viewers constantly failed to produce actionable intelligence information. The history, early background in the occult and spiritualist literature, remote viewing was known as this word's hard to pronounce, telesthesia, and traveling clairvoyance. Rosemary Gully described it as seeing remote or hidden object clairvoyantly with the inner eye, or an alleged out-of-body travel. The study of psychic phenomenon by major scientists started in the mid-19th century. Early researchers include Michael Faraday, Alfred Russel Wallace, Rufus Osgood Mason, and William Crookes. Their work prominently involved carrying out focused experimental tests on individuals thought to be psychically gifted. Reports of apparently successful tests were met with much skepticism from the scientific community. In the 1930s, J.B. Ryan expanded the study of paranormal performance into larger populations by using standards experimental protocols when unsettling human subjects. But as with this earlier studies, Ryan was reluctant to publicize this work too early because of the fear of criticism of mainstream scientists. Paranormal studies remained fringe area of scientific exploration. However, by the 1960s, the prevailing counterculture attitudes were more sympathetic to paranormal ideas. The emerge of what is termed the New Age thinking and the popularity of the human potential movement provoked a mini renaissance that renewed public interest in consciousness studies and psychic phenomenon. It also helped people to make financial support more available for research into such topics. In the early 1970s, Harold Puthoff and Russell Terrig joined the Electronics and Bioengineering Laboratory in Stanford Research Institute, SRI, and now SRI International, where they initiated studies of the paranormal that were at first supported with private funding from the Parapsychology Foundation and the Institute of Noetic Sciences. In the late 70s, the physicists John Taylor and Eduardo Balanowski tested the psychic Matthew Manning in remote viewing, and the results proved completely unsuccessful. One of the early experiments lauded by proponents as having improved methodology of remote viewing testing and remain future experimental standards were criticized as leaking information to the participants by inadvertently leaving clues. Some later experiments had negative results within these clues were eliminated. Viewers' advice in the Stargate project was always so unclear that non-detailed that it has never been used in any intelligence operation. In 2005 interview with GQ magazine, former President Jimmy Carter recalled a time during his presidency when the administration was searching for a small twin-engine plane that had gone down somewhere in Africa. According to Carter's recollection, the director of the CIA told him that the plane had been located by a woman in California who claimed to be a psychic medium. Carter recalled he responded to the claim with skepticism, saying, whether it was just a gross coincidence or I don't know. Decline in determination. In the early 90s, the Military Intelligence Board, declared by Defense Intelligence Agency Chief Harry Soyster, the appointed Army Colonel William Johnson to manage the remote viewing unit and evaluated subjective usefulness. Funding dissipated in late 94 and the program declined. The project was transferred to DIA to CIA in 1995. In 95, the CIA hired American Institute for Research to perform a prospective evaluation and results generated by positive effect with some subjects scoring 5 to 15 above chance. Heyman argued that Utah's conclusion that ESP had been proven to exist in premature, to say the least. Heyman said the findings had yet to be replicated independently and that more investigation would be necessary to legitimately claim the existence of paranormal functioning based upon both of their studies, which recommended a higher level of critical research. Trigger Controls, the CIA terminated a $20 million project in 95. Time magazine stated in 95 that 3 full-time psychics were still working on a $500,000 a year budget at Fort Meade, Maryland, which could soon be closed. The AIR report concluded that no usable intelligence data was produced in the program. David Glosson, the American Institute for Research, said there's no documented evidence it had any value in the intelligence community. PAIR's remote perception program, beginning in the 70s, the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab carried out extensive research on remote viewing. By 1989, it had conducted 336 formal trials, reporting the composite scores of 635 with a corresponding value of a 1.4 and 10 out of 10. And the 92 critic of these results, Hansen, UTTS, and Merwick, concluded the pair remote viewing experiments depart from commonly accepted criteria for formal research in science. In fact, they were undoubtedly some of the poorest quality ESP experiments published in many years. The lab responded that none of the stated complaints compromises the pair experimental protocols or analytical methods that reframe their results. Following Utz's emphasis on replication, the Hayman's challenge in the interlaboratory consistency in the AIR project, pair conducted several hundred trials to see if they could replicate the SAIC and SRI experiments. They created an analytical judgment methodology to replace the human judging process criticized in the past experiments, and they released a report in 96. They felt the results of the experiments were consistent with the SRI experiments' unreliable source. However, statistical flaws have been proposed by others in parapsychological community and within the general scientific community. The scientific reception, a variety of scientific studies, remote viewing has been conducted. Early experiments produced positive results, but they had invalidating flaws. None of more recent experiments have shown positive results when conducted under properly controlled conditions. This lack of successful experiments has led to the mainstream scientific community to reject remote viewing based upon the absence of evidence based on the lack of theory, which would explain remote viewing and the lack of experimental techniques, which can provide reliability positive results. Science writers Gary Bennett and Martin Gardner, Michael Shermer, and professional neurology Terrence Hines described the topic of remote viewing a pseudoscience. C.E.M. Hansel, who evaluated the remote viewing experiments of parapsychologists such as Puthoff, Tereg, and John B. Bishop, and Brenda J. Dunn, noted that there was lack of controls and precautions were not taken to rule out the possibility of fraud. He concluded the experimental design inadequately reported and too loosely controlled to serve any useful function. Parapsychologist Ray Hayman said that even if the results from remote viewing experiments were reproduced under specific conditions, they would still not be conclusive demonstration of the existence of psychic functioning. He blames this on the reliance of negative outcome claims on ESP are based on results of experiments not being explained by normal means. He says that the experiments lack a positive theory that guides as to what controls on them and what to ignore, and that parapsychologists have not come close. And that's a little bit about the psychic. Hey, Jennifer, Paranormal Investigations, welcome in. He's upstairs. He's watching. He's on with me Sunday nights. Hey, Sandy Mary. Now, I mean, some of that I would have to disagree because, I mean, I've seen parapsychology, the remote viewing work. I mean, my dad's done it with clients over the phone that we've never talked to before. This is our first time talking to him, and he describes their house right to a T. So, I mean, I've seen it work. This was an experiment that was part of that Phillips experiment. This was a picture I was able to find with it where they produced that seance of them volunteers. And I mean, that's like seance people, they're saying seances don't work. I believe they do. I mean, you can call something in. In all my years of paranormal research, seances have worked. I mean, not knowing what you're calling in, but you know what I mean? But I mean, you can do it. I mean, it's another form of spirit communication. If you open that circle and you open that energy up to it, then you can bring something in. I mean, it's like Estes, spirit boxes, Ouija boards. I mean, same thing. And then again with the remote viewing, I mean, these are just participants, and like parapsychology, them parapsychologists a lot are very skeptical in parapsychology. I mean, if you watch the old TV show Most Haunted with Yvette Fielding, they had a parapsychologist on there. Trying to remember, Karen O'Keefe is his name. He's a parapsychologist out of England, and he was very skeptical on a lot of stuff. He had explanations pretty much for everything, especially even what Derek Akora, the psychic medium, was picking up. I mean, Derek would sit there and channel and let something take over his body, and it would take him over and he'd become somebody else. Two separate dimensions can be open at the same time too. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and even your demonic comes through that stuff too. I mean, they come through seances, they come through spirit boxes, they come through all that. And I mean, remote viewing is just tapping into your third eye and seeing what your mind is letting you see. I mean, like I said, my dad too, the way he can tell somebody what their house looks like, and he's never stepped foot in it. So, and about that time, we don't even have the address of the house yet. So it's not like I can go right online, pull it up on Google Maps or Zillow or anything like that. So that's remote viewing right there. So that's saying remote viewings work. It does work if it's done correctly. I mean, there's many out there that fake it, that can't remote view, but try to do it. I've seen that too. And, but I mean, it does work and it can be beneficial too. I mean, especially for your paranormal research. I mean, all these experiments can be beneficial if they're done correctly. I remember a story about this girl. She lost a friend to an accident and she opened up a portal just to let him come through. But unfortunately, yeah, as soon as you open that door, anything comes through. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you let an inhuman demonic through there, you can let a malicious spirit come through there. It doesn't necessarily have to be her friend. And I mean, even the darker stuff could disguise itself as her friend, come through, make you feel like it's your friend, and then boom, it's not. And creating them portals, you got to be very careful. You got to know what you're doing when it comes to that, because if you don't, you're going to find out the hard way. And she didn't close it up. at his grave, and she never closed it. So spirits are just wandering through there left and right now. Think that connecting with spirit guides, angels, and the higher self, anything can happen. Yeah, it can. But yeah, she now that she didn't close it, that portal's still open there, and anybody that goes there is going to be exposed to that, whatever's coming in and out of it. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be spirits that come out of that. So people need to keep that in mind if they go out there to the cemetery. That's why you never open a portal. You never do that stuff because that stuff is dangerous, especially if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to handle it. And then you have to suffer the consequences, whatever came through that and decides it wants to latch onto you and come home with you. I mean, that's what we deal with every time we go out to an investigation. I mean, you can have something follow you home. Something attaches and boom, there you go. And so even doing remote viewing and all that stuff too, you're remote viewing into somebody's space that could potentially be haunted, and all of a sudden, boom, you got that spirit, whatever's in their house, talking to you, and they can travel. I mean, especially your darker stuff, they can travel. They know everything about you. And especially if you're remote viewing and you're tapping into it, it can come through right at you. I meet a lot of psychics that do remote viewing at a lot of the conventions we go to. I talk to quite a few of them when we're out there at conventions and stuff like that, and they give me their cards if I ever need remote viewing and stuff like that, and if I ever need help, which is good to have the references, but I mean, we handle a lot of it on our own and stuff like that. I have many follow from the haunted Broadwell funeral home. Oh, I can imagine. We're getting ready to go do a funeral home here in a couple weeks here. We're getting ready to go here to Mortuary Manor in Toledo, Ohio to investigate. So, but yeah, I mean, anywhere you go, any haunted location, you can have something follow you home. If it likes you and it picks you, it's going to come with you if you don't set them boundaries and you don't tell it to stay. It needs to stay where it's at. Especially going to these prisons and stuff like that, where a lot of these criminally insane inmates are and murderers and stuff. I mean, oh, nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is our first time going out there. We're at an event with Eclipse Paranormal. She's hosting an event. We're the VIP guests, and we're going to go out there and investigate and take people around and teach them. It's going to be a good time. We're looking forward to it. So Jennifer's a spirit magnet. I think a lot of us are they know we have these abilities and that we're sensitive to it. So we become that magnet because they know we are a conduit to it. And they know we can communicate, we can get their message out. And with our being able to hear them, see them, feel them, and I mean, I've seen people's faces. I've seen something take over somebody to where their face sits there and morphs to somebody else. I actually have legit video evidence of that, where a person's sitting there just taking their thumb and digging their face open. And I don't show it on podcasts, but I do use it for teaching purposes at lectures and stuff like that when we do paracons and stuff like that, to show people the potential dangers of what can happen if you're not protected, you're not setting those boundaries. They all try to follow her and make themselves known. You should watch some of her videos. Yeah, I'll definitely check out her videos. And Jennifer, also hit me up on my page, and I'll get you as a guest on the show here too. But yeah, I mean, you got those potential dangers. I mean, like that lady that her face morphed to somebody else, and she's sitting there just going like this, digging her own face up. And what person sits there and takes their thumb and just starts digging her face like that? And it was done in three scratches down her face, and she was just going over the same scratches over and over again. And so she did a live last weekend. You can hear spirits talking while she is. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good evidence. If you can catch that, that is real good. And I count that as legit evidence. If you're getting spirits talking over you and you can hear them, that is awesome evidence right there. I mean, that's like my videos at Gettysburg there, where you can hear boots marching right along with me, and the horses' hooves galloping. And that's actually over me talking to my viewers that were watching live. I was describing Devil's Den up there, and you can hear it in the video. My house, 2 hours of disembodied voices. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've got some stuff going on in my house too as well. We've been seeing a black shadow figure in my house. Well, my house has got 3 confirmed deaths. And then the property itself is back from the 1800s. So before this house was built here on this property, there was a trailer here, and a man was in the shower. It was an older man. He did not hear the tornado siren go off and the tornado come through here. And this was in 1975. And it was an EF5 tornado that come through here, wiped out the house. It was a trailer that he was living in. It picked up the trailer, picked him up in the shower, sent him about 7-8 miles down the road. They found him still in the shower, and he was passed on. And then there was a man that built this house that I'm in now. He passed away here of cancer, and my mom passed away in this house of cancer. So the man, he still hangs around here. Both of them do. My mom pops in from time to time. Carol's seen her. Yeah, I know your house is active. Carol's seen my mom a few times in this house. My friend Mary Lynn Bass, she saw her too, standing behind me in the middle of my podcast. So, and my dad saw that shadow figure in here, and we've had several experiences going on in here at night a few times. I had a one night about middle of the night, and this was couple years after my mom had passed. A one of my dog's toy ball come out of a box and flew down the hallway and hit my bedroom door and woke me up. And so I got up because it woke me right up. I thought my dad was playing a joke on me. He wasn't. He was still sleeping, and it woke him up. And my dad says, "See, I told you there was something in this house, and I just made it clear you better go back to wherever the hell you came from, or I will cleanse this house and you'll all be gone." And then it stopped after that. Didn't hear nothing after that. I have two spirits in my house. These don't belong here. I have an Indian burial behind my property, a lot of Indian drums, etc., being played in residual. I have Indians in my house. Jimmy Ricker and I picked up a little Indian girl. I remember Jimmy telling me about that. Yeah, I do remember Jimmy telling me something about that. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of Native American spirits hang. I mean, my cousin Kathy's house, same thing. I picked up a Native American picture out there of a Native American woman, and the property did have confirmed Native American slaves. And then I picked up African American slaves out there in pictures. We captured a demonic entity out there. And that, if you're new to the podcast, that place is very active. Side of a Mormon massacre, a battle where General Boggs got killed out there, and a few Mormon people got killed out there. It was a nasty battle. It's got history of Jesse James and the James and Younger gang riding through there, and they used to hide out there on my cousin's property. My cousin's great grandparents used to hide Jesse and them out in their barn and feed them. I've often heard of, if a ghost causes trouble, they will stop. Does that work? Yeah. I mean, you have to be forceful with your words at them. And a lot of them will stop, but if it's something darker, nope, it won't stop. They don't have to listen to you. So, and that's what I've learned in my demonology studies under Sister Farah and Father Bob, that even Tony Sparrow, that the demonic doesn't have to listen to you. They know everything about you. They were never living. They never once walked this earth in human form. So I took a picture of a young Indian girl in my bedroom. Oh, wow. I'll have to check that out. I'll show you my Native American one I picked up. There's my Native American woman that we picked up at my cousin Kathy's house out in the yard. Spirits are the same in death and life generally. If they were nasty, yep, exactly. They were nasty in life, they're nasty in death. He had an oil grease smell to him. But yeah, that's our Native American picture that we captured out there. Yeah, that does work. It does work, but like I said, you got to be forceful with your words when it comes to that. You need to be very forceful and let them know that they have no right to be in your home. They have to leave. Um, and be forceful with your words. One thing people don't understand that we do have the power in us to claim our own space. Same with your house. You have the power to claim your house back. I know it's hard, it's scary, and that's where we come in and help you, and we help you take your place back. And so you do have that power. This was the African American slave that we caught out there as well, Jennifer. As you can see, he's up close and personal. And this was out in the yard near the house that we captured that. And then the other one we captured out there, let's see here. See here. There was a African American slave woman we captured out there as well. Which is her right there. She was another one we captured out there. And we've investigated this place several times. I've investigated outside at night. You'll hear random gunfire. You'll hear cannons go off, all that residual from the battles that happened there. And the James gang riding through there, getting shot at by the Pinkertons. And yeah, there's a lot of history out there. Sometimes it takes a lot. I did a 27 chakra cleansing, tried everything to get him out, but that worked. He was hanging with me since February. Yeah, and then another thing you could do is bring a shaman out for the Native Americans too. You can have a shaman come out. Yeah, she came through good. We got a lot of good evidence and EVPs out there as well too. There was a lot of audio. Every time we mentioned something about the Latter-day Saints movement out there, you would hear the residual gunfire. My good friends, Penn Paranormal out of Kansas, they were out there with us here before fall. We were out there investigating and metal detecting, and we started investigating that night, and you could hear gunfire going off, and it was the anniversary of the Battle of Crooked River. And here's another one we captured out there, Jennifer. This was actually in the house. Most of the spirits here in my house are relatives that have transitioned, but also spirits that come check things out. Sometimes they stay for a while, or they come through the front door and back and out the back door. Say at Gettysburg, you can still hear it. Yeah, oh yeah, you can. When we were out there, we were up on Little Round Top, and I mean, this is middle of the afternoon, and we heard a loud cannon go off. Looked down over the trees past Devil's Den, and we seen smoke rolling up over the trees. And we asked the ranger out there who was giving a tour are they doing any reenactments on the battlefield? And he said, no, they're not allowed to reenact on the battlefields. I said, well, we just heard a cannon go off and seen smoke come up over the trees. He says, we just heard that too. And he says, we hear that all the time out here. I give offerings to the Indians every few months. When I moved in, I told them it's still their land. I'm going to live here, but it's always going to be their land. And I believe they are protective of me. I'm not concerned with the Indians hurting me. Oh, awesome. That's good. Did you ever find out what tribe they are? Are they Cherokee or Comanche or Choctaw or any of them? Yeah, that was a demonic entity. As you can see, the horns and all that stuff, and the eyes. We captured something similar. The eyes, the way the eyes glow. We captured something similar to that at the Glen House when we were there in Cape Girardeau with Paranormal in Bluff City. My dad and I and Kent and his boys, we were all investigating together. Hey, cousin Kathy, welcome in. And we captured eyes on the thermal that were white like that, and they were glowing, and it read 86 degrees on the thermal. And right away, we already knew that was not something friendly. That was that entity that someone had brought in there with playing with a Ouija board. It's called the ITC TV box. It's actually a phone app. I was kind of skeptical on it when I first started using it. And we were at Missouri State Penitentiary, and we used it out there in the museum up there, and we ended up capturing Robert Burdella, the Kansas City butcher, on it. And we confirmed it with the tour guide, Jenny, who's the night tour guide. Yeah, Kathy, we're looking at your house guests. I was showing my friend Jennifer there what we captured out there. And oh, thank you, Michael Bloomfield. I appreciate you sharing this out. I really do. You guys are awesome. So that app you can get on Android. And like I said, I was skeptical about it for a while until Robert Burdella, which there's Robert Burdella's mugshot. So I'm going to give you guys a comparison of it. Now you see his mugshot there. Here's Robert Burdella right there on the right-hand side. And that's why then that started making me a believer, and I started using that app. And what it does, it scans the white noise frequency, and it has the white noise like a TV. And it shows like the flashy snowy. And when it picks up an EMF field, it uses your camera and snaps a picture. Yeah, exactly the same. And Jenny from Missouri State, she confirmed it. And that was in the prison museum. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Oh, that was weird. But I just blacked out for the screen. I don't know what happened there. So again, there's Robert Burdella, the comparison. And there he is again. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. But yeah, he was, and a lot of his stuff is up there in the museum, which is the old warden's house up there in Missouri State. I mean, they've got contraband up there from the inmates and stuff like that, which will be out there in June 26th, I believe, at the Get Haunted event. Yeah, they hit us pretty hard last night. Them storms did. About 10 o'clock last night, it hammered us. We were under tornado warning until about 10:30 last night. Yeah, May 9th, I'll show you that app. You can only get it for Android, though. You can't get it for iPhones. So, and if you're coming May 9th, I will be bringing a piece of prototype equipment out. So we're going to use out there. So you guys will see what we've been building. Yeah, Oklahoma got it. Parts of Missouri, South Missouri got slammed too. I heard Holt, Missouri got it. They had a confirmed tornado last night, touchdown. Yeah, you won't be able to get that then. Yeah, I know you guys in Ray County got it pretty bad too. We had no electric until 3 a.m., I bet. My nephew called me from his shelter to say he was okay. Yeah, you're getting our storms that we had last night come through. We're supposed to get another round of it again here in Missouri Sunday. I saw. Ended, got tore up. Yeah, I heard that too. Then I saw they had a tornado up in Nebraska also. One went through Nebraska as well. Yeah, it was pretty nasty weather. Like I said, I saw we're going to get more Sunday. Yeah, they calmed down before they hit you guys over there. They tear us up first. I see 3 spirits in that picture you have up on the screen. Yeah, there's another one. That one next to Robert Burdella, we couldn't make it out who that was. Which we don't know if it's a woman with him or maybe a spirit of who he murdered. Because, I mean, he was a sick man, Robert Burdella was. And the stuff he used to do, he used to bury the bodies under the floor of his house. And if I remember right, that he had a skull in the window. Okay, Nancy, keep talking about Sunday. But yeah, he was a very nasty man. One guy managed to escape that he was torturing, and that's how they got him. He managed to escape, and the cops found him walking down the road, and he was tortured, and this guy would dump drain cleaner down people's throats, and yeah, he was a very sick individual. And that's why he got locked up in Missouri State, and that's where he passed away in Missouri State. He had heart issues, and he claimed the guards weren't giving him heart medication, and so he Oh yeah, he was another John Wayne Gacy. Yeah, he would torture men and kidnap them. And if you go on my YouTube channel, I did a whole episode on a serial killer episode, and one of them's on Robert Burdella and what he did. Yeah, he was a very nasty man. Yeah, I did one on him, Gacy, BTK, um, the Copelands, which many of you may not be familiar with the Copelands. Ray and Faye Copeland out of Missouri here. He was a cattle farmer and he was known for passing bad checks and stuff. Well, he would take in these drifters to come work for him, make them write the check out for cattle, and he would take them and he rented a home from one of my other cousins-in-laws. I gave a ride to a guy. I saw his dead body on TV. They wanted to identify him. Oh wow. And Copeland would take these drifters in, ask the checks, and before the checks would bounce, he'd sell off the cattle, and then he would shoot these homeless guys with a 22 in a barn, take them and spread their bodies all over the Livingston County. And he did quite a few of them. His wife would take the clothes and she would knit them into quilts. Well, one guy he went to try to shoot, and the guy ended up getting away, turned Ray and Faye in, and when they went through the house, they found the quilts and stuff that she was making out of these clothes, and they had blood stains on them. And then they found some of the bodies, but they didn't find them all. There's still bodies buried out there somewhere that Ray hid. And Ray died in prison. He was executed in prison. Faye, she got out on parole, and they put her in a nursing home. She never spoke a word till the day she died. And she was in a mental nursing home for mentally disturbed patients and stuff. There was a woman who did that to drifters too. I think she had a pig farm. Oh, wow. I think I've read something about that. I'm trying to remember. Is it out there in Ohio? It's either Ohio or Indiana or Iowa, somewhere around that. And she was doing that, taking drifters in, and then she was murdering them. I do remember something about that. But yeah, they were nasty people. So was Robert Burdella. He had that human skull right in his window. And they found a lot of his bodies buried under the floor in his house. He dug out underneath the house and put lime down. He would put them in lime underneath the house and put the floorboards back down. After he'd do his sick stuff with them, and he would torture them. He would do sexual things to men and all kinds of stuff. I guess one guy he tortured so bad the poor guy suffered. He would do some real sick stuff. There was a actual house we investigated, and these people bought sight unseen. Well, the former owners they were not right in the head either as well. The kid was he made a makeshift shower and he was down there torturing animals with electrocution. And did you ever see the pictures of how he had the dead bodies buried in the basement? Yeah, I did see the pictures of that. He had them all laid out in lime and all that stuff. If I remember right, when he was living with his parents, he did it too. And for a while there, he hid one in his closet. I think it might have been Berdella or it might have been Gacy, one of the two. He hid him in a closet for a little while, and then when his mother left, he got it out of there and dumped the body somewhere. And he was very nasty. And it took that man to escape running down the road naked and tortured, but the guy couldn't talk because his throat was so pumped full of drain cleaner. Came out on the news, it was horrible. Yeah, and there was somebody that also views my podcast that one of his relatives, I think, had dealings with Robert Berdella and used to give him rides and all kinds of stuff. And I know he was a construction worker for a little while. He was a cook for a while too, and stuff like that. And then he was a store owner. He had his own store, and that's where the human skull was, in the window in the store. And I know they found some bodies and parts in the backyard too of his house in Kansas City. I had read on that too as well. And yeah, he was just a nasty man. My mom's childhood home was haunted. My mother and other family members seen things, and after it was sold, apparently the woman that moved in went crazy. Oh, wow. Was it spirits driving her crazy, or was it maybe something non-human, or? And back there too, where you live, they don't have to disclose that if it's haunted. I know New York State don't. Did you see the farm where the guy burned and cut up bodies of the gay guys? I believe it was up north. I'll have to find the name of the farm. There was a documentary about it. Oh, wow. No, I didn't see that one. I'm going to be sorry I said this. I don't know. You could use human skin for stuff. Well, look at Ed Gein, the Plainsfield butcher. He wore leather faces. He wore people's faces. And that's where they got the story for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And he was also a cannibal. Ed Gein, grave robber, and he would make stuff out of human skin, and he would make stuff out of the bodies. He would raid the graves and make stuff out of bodies. I remember reading somewhere that in the U.S., at least 50 active serial killers at any time within the U.S. Yeah. Oh, Illinois. Okay. Yeah, Illinois don't either. They don't have the law where they have to disclose hauntings or murders or anything like that either. Which I think states should disclose that. If the house is haunted, they should disclose that. If a murder happened there, they should disclose that as well. The Fox Hollow murders? Okay, yeah, I have heard of the Fox Hollow murders. Do you know that they never solved the Texarkana murders? Nope, they never did. John Wayne Gacy took men to his basement from the bar. Yep. Yep, I remember that as well too. Yeah, when I did that on Gacy, yeah, he would take them to their basement, take pictures with them and pose with them and all kinds of stuff. He was a sick puppy too, Gacy was. And like I said, if you go through my YouTube channel, there is serial killer episodes where I've done stuff on Gacy, BTK, and stuff like that. There's a friend of mine, BTK Photography. He actually got to meet BTK in prison and talk to him and interview him. And that's why his photography company's named BTK Photography. But yeah, I mean, like Ed Gein, Plainsfield Butcher, he would do that sick stuff too and raid the graves. And that's where they also got Psycho from too, was Ed Gein also, because oh wow, Ohio does? I didn't know that. Ohio's doing it now. But I know Missouri don't here, and New York State don't, Illinois don't. I think Minnesota does. We had a serial killer out in my hometown, Gallon, Ohio. It was a long time ago. I'll have to look it back up. And I lived in Wichita, Kansas when BTK was loose. I was stationed there. 3 of them were in basement bedroom. An aunt, being older, slept with my mom and her cousin. Apparently, they all woke up to something black floating above them. This is back in the 70s. They quit doing DNA. There's still bones on the farm. Case was closed. Oh, New York does do it now? See, when I lived back there, they never disclosed it. But that's about 13, 14 years ago now, since I've been back in New York. Seen the Psycho House at Universal Studios. Yep, Silence of the Lambs was also made about Ed Gein. South Carolina, they don't. Yeah, I know some states don't. They don't disclose it at all. But yeah, Ed Gein was he's another sick puppy too. The stuff he used to make, like that skeleton chair he made, which you can see a similar skeleton chair made in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. And then with Leatherface wearing people's faces, and Ed Gein also used a chainsaw. And I believe you can still go up to his farm, but his house isn't there anymore. His house has been demolished, but it's just an empty field now up there. But they do have the Ed Gein Museum. Yeah, Ed did. Yeah, he had a nipple for a doorbell. He sure did. Then he had that cup he made out of the top of the skull and stuff like that. He had some weird stuff he made. He had that took that person's skin and made a chair cover out of it, like a leather chair cover. And I mean, what possesses someone to want to do that? Rob graves and dig somebody up and do all that stuff to them. And they have questions about his brother too. They think he may have offed his brother too, back in the woods where there was a fire in the woods, and they got trapped from each other. But they believe that Ed may have possibly set that fire to off his brother. It takes a certain type of person to be able to do things like that to another person. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at that woman, Eileen, down in Florida. And how she was, too. She was another sick lady and all the things she's done to those people. Zach Bagans has Haunted House Museum. And he's got those stairs, yeah, from the demon house. But you know, it's kind of funny with that demon house. Quite conveniently, he has it tore down before anybody could go validate his claims on it. And that throws me a little in question too about that demon house whole thing, that he conveniently has it torn down so nobody can validate what he experienced there. It's like, why do that if you're gonna do any of that? You know what I mean? But and I know Zach's got a lot of that stuff in his museum, some of that serial killers stuff. I know he's got a few stuff in there, I believe. I can't remember exactly what he all has in there. I think he has some of Robert Berdella stuff in there. I think he's got some of Gacy stuff. Trying to think of who else. He's got some other serial killer stuff in there. Okay, yeah, he does have his Ed Gein stuff in there as well. Gloria Fuentes is a different type of female killer, and the most women don't kill the way she did. If a haunted place burns, the ground will the fire cleanse the spot? No, it won't cleanse the spot. It's just like burning an object that the energy is attached to, like a doll. You're just burning the vessel to it. The energy's still in that, going to still be on that property, right where that house was. So fire won't dissipate the energy. It'll just be released. Same with burning the doll. You're just releasing what's attached to the vessel back onto the earth just to wreak havoc again. So, and that's why with the haunted objects, that's why the Warrens got them locked up in the museum. I have as much faith in Zach Bagans as I do the Tooth Fairy. He's so phony. I agree. Everyone was complaining about Robert's smell coming from his house. Yeah. People walk by and smell that smell coming from his house, or anybody he had over would smell that and stuff like that. And I mean, he was kidnapping young men too. And they would disappear. For a while there, when they pick them up, they didn't have enough evidence. And then eventually they finally had enough. They got him and locked him up. And I think back then's when Missouri stopped using the gas chamber, because I would have given that guy the gas chamber for what he did. But I think Missouri stopped using the gas chamber in Missouri State by then. And but they said he died of heart failure in the prison there in his cell, because he complained that they weren't giving him enough heart medication. The guards weren't. And I don't think he was in there for the riots yet. The riots were before him, but they said he used to make contraband. He would make shanks and stuff like that, and they've got some of his contraband in the museum up there. It only takes one time to come in contact with a decomposing body, and you'll never forget it. Yep. He was randomly picking up hitchhikers. Yeah, he was picking up hitchhikers, and then he would pick them up in a bar too, I think. And certain other places too, he would get close to people and invite them over for dinner, and then he'd slip them something and start having his way with them. Gacy would do that too. And he would do some heinous stuff. If you ever wanted to do it, yeah, there's a few upstate locations I would like to do. There's one up there, Rome State School in Rome, New York. I'd like to do. The King's Psychiatric Center is another one that would be cool to go check out. Did they ever find? I don't think they never. Yeah, they never did find out who killed the Black Dahlia. Swat Park, you can smell them before you found them. That smell you never forget. You are correct. Yeah, decomposing bodies. Yeah, you'll never forget that smell. And there was a guy here in Bramer, Missouri, and he was an elderly man. He passed away in his trailer, and nobody came to check on him for months. And when somebody finally saw there had been no movement in months, they went there and they got in there, and he was already decomposed into the floor already when they found him. But no family came, checked on him, nothing. And he just laid there, passed away, and forgotten about. Cheeseman Park in Colorado was a cemetery. They knew who Jack the Ripper is now, Aaron. Forgot the last name, but he was a barber. Okay, yeah. You'll have to go to your shrine with Jimmy and I sometime in Bristol, Tennessee. It's on our list. I know Rick wanted us to come out. We were supposed to come out last year to Smoky Mountain Terror, but we weren't able to make it. But we have plans on coming out there. That is definitely one place we want to go. Trying to get Brian Hoff to go do this. If you ever come upstate, I bet he would go with you. Yeah, I know my buddy Brian will go. We've been friends since high school, so I'm sure he'll go. Hey, Jennifer, where's my invite? I'll invite you, Tracy. You can come with us. But yeah, I definitely want to go to your shrine. I've had Rick on the podcast before too, and we talked about the shrine, and that place is not for your rookie paranormal investigators, that's for sure. There's a lot of different energies in that place, and they're free to roam. No energy is captive in that place. They're free to come and go, and there's dark, there's light. I'll be down there with Jimmy at the end of June. Oh, cool. Are you going to come out to Kentucky, Jennifer? We're all going to be out in Kentucky in September at Kent's Paracon out there. We'll be at this one. Jimmy and I both will be there. You'll have to come out and hang out with us. My dad and I will be guest speaking there. So yeah, as you see, Jennifer, there's the Outlaw Paranormal. So we'll all be there. So yeah, you'll have to come out. Like I said, we'll have merch out there, equipment and figurines. My cousin Kathy, Megan, who's part of my team. I've been to the shrine over 20 times. Yeah, I definitely want to go to the shrine. My dad does too. He definitely wants to check that out. But yeah, I've heard that place is pretty active, the shrine, and Jimmy's told me a lot about it. So has Erin from Tennessee Shadow Chasers. She's filled me in on a lot of it too. So in a few minutes here, we're going to get ready to wrap up. And because we're going to my cousin's tomorrow, try to work on some more equipment. Jimmy will be with us next weekend at Randolph County Asylum. Yeah, he said he was going to be there in Ohio. He's there the weekend before us because I tried to get him to come to Mortuary Manor with us. I'd be the only one there not afraid of snakes out of the wind. Are you familiar with Sleepy Hollow Road? The Kentucky Melody has a story on his podcast. Sleepy Hollow Road, yep, I am familiar with that. My friend Christina Westervelt, she goes up there to Sleepy Hollow quite a bit. Been going there for years. Rick is a very good friend of mine. I got to pick on Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy needs it. We all got to pick on Jimmy. Hey, folks. Sorry, I can't see any of the chat. Hey, Steve. I try to post them up on the screen there, so if you can't see the chat, you'll be able to see them when I post them up on the screen. But yeah, Rick was a pretty cool guy. I love talking to Rick. I could talk to Rick for hours on that stuff. And he likes the fact, too, my family's got a haunted museum, too. So he knows I know what it's like, what he's dealing with there at the shrine with all them haunted objects he's got in there. Steve is our new guy. He's stuck with us loons next week. I feel sorry for you, Steve. Oh, you'll have fun with those guys. Just don't get into Jimmy's moonshine. That's for sure. Jimmy's moonshine will have you seeing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's educated, especially on that stuff. And he was telling me the story about the coconut at the shrine. You don't touch that coconut. That is true. I like shine. Hit Jimmy up. He's got plenty of it. So, but all right, guys, we're gonna get ready to wrap up here. I gonna get to bed. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. So we will be on again Sunday. My dad will be on Sunday with us, along with Rebecca and Carol. Don't tell us not to touch stuff. It makes my fingers itch to do it. Tracy, don't touch that coconut. Night. Cannot wait to go. Kind of looking forward to it. Yeah. Can't wait either. Great show tonight. Thank you for sharing the information to help people learn more about Philip experiment and remote viewing. Oh, you're welcome, Carol. Yeah, Kathy, we'll see you tomorrow. Yep. See you Sunday. I'll send you a link, Tracy. Sandy Mary, good night, everyone. And we will see you on Sunday, same about 8:30 Central. My dad and I will be on along with Carol and psychic medium Rebecca. Everybody have a good night. God bless, and we will see you soon. Ignore the outro video. I still haven't had time to change the Saturday part of it. But again, when we slow down, I made Saturday shows also. Again, probably towards fall. Later after, we usually slow down around November, so I'll probably start doing Saturday shows again too. Hell, I may do 3 nights in a row for you guys. So, and I thank everybody each week for tuning in and supporting us and supporting the show. Like I said, without you viewers, this show wouldn't be possible. It's you guys who make the show. So I thank you all for tuning in, and have a good night. Stay safe out there. Remember, if you're being bullied in the paranormal field, you do have a voice. Nobody's better than anybody in this field. We're all after the same common goal, to prove the existence of life after death. So with that being said, everybody have a good night. Steve, good to meet you too. And maybe you'll get to investigate with us too sometime, Steve. Definitely, we'll chat again, that's for sure. And tune in Sunday night, and then again next Friday night with my guest all the way from Ireland. That's going to be a good show too. I can't wait to interview this guy, and he's willing to come on at like 2:00 in the morning in Ireland. So that'll be awesome. So he was going to be on tonight, but he's traveling to the UK. So we decided so he can have a good full interview and talk about his books and stuff. We figured next Friday would be perfect for him. So that being said, everybody have a good night. God bless, and we will see you Sunday. And have a safe time out there if you're investigating this weekend. And don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stay safe out there. Don't challenge anything. And God bless everybody. You're all in our prayers, especially if you're out helping people and dealing with something dark in their homes. You're in our prayers, and you have our support. So everybody have a good night. See you Sunday.